Things get real on Here's the Deal. Real information, real business experts, and real business owners for real inspiration. I'm your host, Chris Flowers, and with nearly 30 years in business finance, me and my business experts are the best in our fields. There's no guarantees in business. We're not saying you're going to win the deal or get the loan, but if you got the grind, Here's the Deal can expand your mind. Let's talk shop. Here's the Deal. Here's the Deal is brought to you by My Biz Coaches. Eric Whitmore asks, are you ready to transform your business and achieve unprecedented growth? My Biz Coaches specialize in turning small businesses into multi-million-dollar success stories. Their team of experienced executives provides tailored coaching to help scale your operations, boost your sales, and maximize your profits. Schedule a discovery session and experience the power of expert guidance. Visit mybizcoaches.com, that's biz, B-I-Z, and start your journey to a brighter, more profitable future. My Biz Coaches, your path to success. Visit mybizcoaches.com. Everybody, what's going on? This is Chris Flowers here. Here's the Deal. I said we got a new platform we're going on. We're going off of StreamYard now. So like I said, we're just doing some new things and playing around with some things. And then we also got our guest here, our coach Greg Hess. How you doing, boss?
Hey, thanks, Chris. I'm here and ready to roll, man. Here's the deal. Make the deal. Let's have a deal. I love it.
And like I said, we're going to talk about your book. You're an author of a new book called Peak Experiences. We're definitely going to get into that. But like I said, I wanted to introduce you to everybody, and I wanted to talk to you a little more about how you got into business coaching, because it's definitely a unique experience. So I definitely want to make sure we cover that background, because this is not how most people get into business coaching. So by all means, before we get into the book or like that, let's talk about how you actually even got into business coaching to begin with.
Sure. I got to go back a few years in terms of I played college basketball, and I graduated from the University of Calgary 1978, and I was immediately hired as a head coach at a high school there in Calgary, and I taught social sciences as well. And so I started the name coach right then. People kind of stuck it to it. So I've been Coach Hess ever since that point, probably forward. I ended up going to Southern California, doing some coaching there as well, and became more important than the mayor in a town called Westlake Village. Once I showed up there as the head coach of basketball, I couldn't believe it. And I had a lot of success, put players into, 4 players in my 3 years there into Division I, full ride scholarships, and we really did well. And I did the assistant coach job at Cal Lutheran University, again, all basketball coaching. And I decided to do an MBA. And I made that decision after I rode a bike from Jasper, Alberta to all the way to Thousand Oaks, man.
Wow.
Sharpened my saw a little bit, to say the least, and came to the conclusion that doing an MBA at that point, we're talking the early 90s, really didn't have the things we had. And I recognized that the GUI interface and the electronic transfer and digital maturities that were going on were going to happen at a rapid pace. So that's what I focused my MBA on. Spent my whole career in business doing that type of thing. And then, I was the chief advisor for cloud services at Halliburton. And I got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. This is like 30 years after all this other stuff had gone on, but I'd been called coach the whole time. I got a bunch of messages from people that said I made a difference in their lives. I was told to get my stuff in order. I had 14 days before I was going into surgery, and there wasn't a pretty picture written for one who has pancreatic cancer.
No, it's not.
Anyway, I went through that process, came out the other end, and a whole bunch of story behind that, but very emotional time. And as I rebound, I looked at all these messages I got during that 14-day window, and it was all about I made a difference in mentoring, coaching, helping people. Kind of realized my life had been saved for a reason. So I thought at that point, and I still believe it today. I looked at those messages and I said, that's it. I'm going to dedicate myself the rest of my life to doing this. And that is coaching. And so I went out, investigated all the business coaching firms and so on, and ended up buying into an Action Coach franchise, and went through their training and their boot camp and all of that, and figured out, I go into coaching. I looked at those messages and I said, you know what, Chris, I'm going to be a great coach. Everybody told me so.
Absolutely.
Once I got to the point where I was actually not working like I'd been in corporate world, where I was taking money out of people's budgets rather than people's pocketbooks, even though it should be budgets, but it was a lot more of that relationship. I didn't realize how difficult that transition really was until I crossed that line and did that. And I think that's an important thing for all of us in business, to realize, where's the money coming from that's supporting you and the services you provide, and where's the real value going to come back? And until you can show that clearly, you're fooling yourself.
Like I said, yeah, you definitely took a different route to get here.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Here's the deal that's brought to you by Litchfield Auto. They're located at 671 North 137th Avenue in Goodyear, Arizona. Let me tell you, I've known Phil and his team for at least 15 years. I've had some high mileage BMWs, and Litchfield Auto has always kept them on the road. Him and his team are fantastic, and I would refer them to anybody. And just like their slogan says, at least you know there's one fair and honest mechanic. Give them a call, 623-882-8700. So again, you have a little bit different coaching philosophy that I wanted you to get into as well. So I wanted to hear more about it, because like I said, you had other business coaches on, things like that. I partner with a business coach here on the show. But yeah, tell me a little bit more about like your business philosophy, your business coaching philosophy.
Well, at a business level, the number one thing I believe for every business is that if you don't know your numbers, you do not know your business. So don't fool yourself there either, and make sure you know those. And so I'm very adamant in making sure, people, I tell people, you got to know your numbers if you're going to work with Coach S. But if you don't know your numbers, give me 6 weeks with you and we'll have it figured out. And I've found that's been a really good approach. Obviously things come off the numbers. We look at the 4 types of cash that exist in the numbers that we track on every coaching session, and it's what tells you the story about your business. What's your revenue? What are you doing for marketing? How are you getting that front end dollars in the door? Where are they coming from? And how do we test and measure them so we can build predictable profitability on the revenue side?
Here's the deal is brought to you by JTA Interiors. Are you looking to reimagine, elevate, and customize your living space, or improve your company image, brand, and client experience? Let me introduce you to the incredible team of experienced local designers here in North Scottsdale. JTA Interiors offers material and finish selections, full construction drawings and city submittal, 3D imagery, and construction administration services to ensure their clients have a partner throughout all phases of the design and build process. Contact Jessica at 480-278-9119 or visit jtacustominteriors.com. Don't go it alone. JTA Interiors. Build with a plan with a pro.
Second area is profit. If you're not profitable, well, why are you in business? But profit and cash as profit needs to be dealt with a little bit differently, and then certainly than revenue. We got to understand how to reinvest, all the different things that go with that type of thing. Profit. But the third one, most important to I think any business and type of cash, is cash flow, especially as they grow. As I work with general contractors and people that go from residential and now we're going to commercial, and now we've got cash tied up for 60, maybe 90 days in the worst case scenarios, and we've got people to pay and things to pay for and materials and supplies. Got to know where that cash is coming from and have good management. That's one of the number one.
And when it's coming in.
And when it's coming in. And then the fourth one is equity. And what is the business that you're working on worth? What is the value of this? That's a very important type of cash. And what I want to encourage people to do while I'm working with them in that, in my coaching philosophy, is let's invest in the systems that give you the ability. So when somebody comes, we want to sell the company in 5 years, and the broker says to you, how dependent is this business on you, Chris? And you can say, not that dependent. I was in Hawaii last month and we made the same money we made the 4 months I was here the whole time. That answer gives you multiples on your earnings very, very quickly. And so building the equity, I always tell people, if you invest 2 hours today on your CRM and you think about what is my return on that investment, in 5 years from now, that 2 hours could turn into $50,000. Let's see, $25,000 an hour today to get back in 5 years. I think I'm going to take that deal. So you want to encourage. That's part of real fundamental, I think, to my coaching philosophy. But I also believe very much in coaching a person more than the problem. We all have problems. There's a lot of problems out there in business and so on. but typically it's the mindset around that. Oftentimes things that are challenging when you're in the valley are not looked at as opportunities. And so having a growth mindset around what that looks like when you're in that valley is really important part of, I think, for myself as a coach and working with clients, is to get them to feel that, believe that, and internalize that.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing business owners really don't think of is like, what's the company actually worth? I think they see the top line revenue. Hey, my revenue's up. Hey, my profit's up. But what is it actually worth in the end? I think they lose sight of that. And I don't think that's really in the forefront of their mind enough, because like I said, you and I have both seen it to where, somebody wants to go and sell a company. They're like, oh, I'm going to sell it for 10 times X. No, you're not, because on your balance sheet, it ain't there. It's gone. You took that all already. You took the pay me now method rather than the pay me later method. If your goal is to get a bag at the end, you got to start making those steps right now.
You bet.
So I think, but I think a lot of owners miss that last step. Yeah, really, that's one thing they just, again, it's not in the forefront of their mind. Like, oh yeah, my revenue's up, and profit looks good, things like that. But they missed that fourth one. I think they missed that fourth one a lot. So I think that's where they could benefit. Working with you and stuff like that. Now,
taking that one step deeper. And sorry to interrupt you, Chris.
No, please, yeah, please do.
The whole element as we make transitions in our business and grow, and each deal that we are working, and following those deals, is understanding margin. Understanding the margin that's associated to what are we getting, so I look at not only an annual margin based on the budget, we're looking at each individual deal. What are we getting off the margin of that, and making sure that we're staying in track, because owners typically are most concerned about asking for a price increase than anybody. People feel it's all about the price and customer price, but when you're providing value, you need to get the price that you're asking for, so that you can continue to provide that value. And oftentimes owners don't go for that price, and therefore their margin starts to deteriorate. And by watching closely as a coach, I can help them see that blind spot.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Again, these are some of the things that this is why I encourage people definitely, to have a business coach, especially, somebody like you or Erica. It's like, these are the things you guys focus on. And like I said, that's it's critical. I think it's critical. Like I said, because what's the point of doing all this work, and what's the point of running this company? What if you, like I said, if you're not going, if your goal at the end, especially, it's like, hey, I want to retire comfortably, which I know that's what I want to do. I know what you want to do. So it's like, it's nice to, to enjoy the money while it's here. You take a nice vacation, do something like that. Okay, that's all great. But again, keep your eye on the prize. Okay. Like I said, I want, we're going to work hard, play hard, and, you gotta, de-stress a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, hey, keep focused, keep, the main thing. Like, okay, hey, we want to sell this company for X. We got to do these steps right now. Okay. To make sure that this goal is achieved. Okay.
Yep.
Here's the deal. It's brought to you by Payne Equipment Sales, LLC. I've known Jason Payne for 15 years. Payne Equipment Sales, LLC is the largest used construction dealer in Arizona. They're a licensed equipment dealer and broker based at 8871 North 79th Avenue in Peoria, Arizona. They've been buying and selling pre-owned equipment since 2019, and are dedicated to providing high-quality used equipment to their clients throughout the United States. They specialize in skid steers, excavators, backhoes, telehandlers, skip loaders, tractors, trucks, and trailers. Go to Payne Equipment Sales. That's Payne, PayneEquipmentSales.com, or call the office at 480-207-6671, or you can email them at info@PayneEquipmentSales.com. That's Payne, Payne. The other thing I wanted to get into, like I said, I just heard from you, and it was just a little bit different because, like, I talk to people all the time about the importance of a business plan, and it's not something you do once and throw it in a drawer and then forget about it, things like that. And then you have a concept of like there's 3 different plans, which I hadn't really heard before, or just the way I like the way you go about it. So tell everybody about your three different types of plans.
Sure. When you're building a business, there's three types of business plans that are critical to making it work properly. Number one, of course, your fundamental business plan. It's going to have your mission statement, your executive summary, all the types of things of where you're going to go. And of course, that is a living document, not one, as Chris said, goes in the drawer, never comes back out again.
You'd be surprised. Well,
Yeah.
you've seen, I know you've seen it. Yeah.
You got it. So anyway, having that plan is kind of where you're going to go with things, and what the direction is really important. But once you've got that plan in place, the second plan that's, I think, absolutely critical is your operation plan or your blueprint. How do you do things? What is our way, for the type of business that you're running? If you're Sally's Flower Shop, how does Sally's Flower Shop operate? Right from opening the door in the morning, right to closing the door at the night, right? How do we follow up with clients? How do we greet them? How do we answer the phone? All of the operations get standardized so that we have our brand. It's
Nice.
a branding thing as much as anything, but having it documented, critical. Now, a lot of times this documentation process of the blueprint is done by video for companies I work with. We don't necessarily have it all written, but we've got a library of what goes on. And so
Nice.
a lot of people like to watch the video. And then the third type of plan that really needs to be in place right up front is, what is your exit plan? What is your completion plan? What does this business look like when it's done?
Mm-hmm.
So many people, because it's their baby, they don't see where their baby ends up very well. They just want to grow it. And they grow and grow, and they can't turn that hat from there, flip it around backwards and say, now I got my owner's hat on purely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not working my core competency. I'm a business owner. And what I found in those areas when I'm working with business oftentimes is that those that are running their first business, and we built that up and then we've done a good job, and they still feel it's their baby, and you can tell by the way they operate, and
Mm-hmm.
everything's tight and hold on, and they don't want to give away and delegate very much unless they really are confident. They get to a second company and they change. They now have the ability to see it as purely a business.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, it's just a second and third company, things go a lot easier. So I encourage people to think a little bit ahead and realize it's just a business, folks.
Yeah, I think both of those times, like I said, I think that, that fourth cash that you were talking about and that third business plan, that's the tie-in. And I want to bring that more to the forefront to business owners, because like I said, I think it's, like I said, really, really important. But, for them, again, it goes back to delegation. It goes back to working on your business rather than in your business. But having that fourth cash flow thing, like you were talking about, where you talk about, hey, this company, I got to a point to where this company can run without me being here. I can go take off for a month and everything will be peaking, running just fine. That's the point we all need to strive to get to. I think when a lot of people, especially when they're first starting out, but even like I said, they forget along the way. It's like, hey, you know what? You got to be able to build this business up to where, like you said, I don't want to be working in this thing 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? I got to be able, I want to enjoy the fruits of the labor here, while we're here. And then, but then again, that also builds towards building the bag, okay, to get in the bag at the end. So having those things, having that fourth cash flow mindset and having that third business plan mindset, starting having those in the forefront of your mind, get you to the end goal. Like I said, and that's a little bit different way than I've heard it previously. That's why I was like, okay, I got to have you on the show, because I definitely want people to hear this type of a mindset thing. Because I think it's excellent.
A second area where I bring that to play is that every quarter I run something called a growth club, and growth club is where we plan out the next quarter. And so on September the 26th, we'll have another growth club, which will set us up for Q4. And what happens is everybody comes with a previous built plan before they show up to growth club. It's pretty detailed and they know what their expectations are. But within that growth club, what we do on the last page of it, kind of workbook of it all, is that you write a letter to yourself as if you've accomplished everything you said in that plan. And so you write a celebratory letter or celebration letter about what you've accomplished, even though you haven't accomplished it yet. And then we read those out. And so back to mindset is that you've got the mindset and vision of what's going to happen in that quarter for you already. So I think it's really powerful to have that in terms of building vision and how we reach, the milestones we want to reach in our lives.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, this is definitely. I like the way you guys said. I like the way you think about things. I like the way you process things. I really dig that. So here's the deal. It's brought to you by Phoenician Pool, Spa, and Patio. I've known Clark Barnella since he was 15 years old. His dad was a personal friend of mine. May he rest in peace. If you sign up for a weekly pool service, he will prorate a month for free. Weekly service is billed monthly for as low as $115 a month. Some restrictions apply, maybe due to the size of the pool or the area. You can call him on his cell at 602-316-3671 or go to his website, myarizonapoolservice.com. Text in the promo code "Here's the Deal" and he'll include a filter clean with weekly service or 30% off any new and repairs or upgrades. So, all right, man. Like I said, now here it is. Peak Experiences, the book. Your baby. Well, this is your baby right here.
Let's is my baby right now. I tell you, I've never felt probably more gratitude, legacy satisfaction in completing writing a book. I think writing a book forces you into an element of self-discovery that you probably haven't experienced if you haven't done it before. I mean, I've written plenty of papers and plenty of other things and everything else, but putting it together in a whole, group of content here and a story that makes sense and brings people, excited. So far, the feedback's been fantastic. I mean, the idea of peak experiences, is time slows down. Things happen in our lives that are really special sometimes, and the time can slow down. You can talk about a car wreck and you can realize everything went. But I mean, other things that, not just negative things, but positive things happen in our lives. It could be meeting a person. In my case, I talk about 12 different experiences of such that have happened in my life with the purpose of having people be able to capture what that is in the description of what that is in the depth of how I've described it and apply it to their own situations and then take the elements that happen, because what happens in a peak experience, in my definition of it and work, is that we comprehend a very large amount of information in a very short time. And we don't manifest that information until time goes by, but we've got the core of it in that one very short moment. It all happened in a powerful, powerful way. Now, what I found in writing the book and kind of the self-discovery side is that these peak experiences that are worth having in our lives typically don't happen unless there's a lot of deliberate practice associated to it. The things that come easy, they come easy and they don't mean much. The things that you've put the time in, think of the Olympics and the Olympians, that how much practice is done.
Right.
And when they hit that peak experience and win that 100-yard dash or a 100-meter dash or whatever else they're doing, I mean, that's a peak experience they'll never, ever forget. And I used quite a few athletic examples. I worked with a guy named Magic Johnson. Some people may have heard of in the past. But
I heard of that guy. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I did a couple of his camps for him and got to know him pretty well. And some of the examples of what we use, because part of the rituals that happen in our lives and things that we're tied to in our business and everything else become, in a way, a peak experience of understanding that there's something bigger than us that we're striving for. In my case, it came down to my why. Why do I do what I do? What is my purpose, And I have to admit, it wasn't until I was, probably 6-7 years ago when I nailed it. But you know what happened? When I was 8 years old is when it happened. That's when I discovered what it was. And I lived my whole life without knowing, really without clarity on it, until I was 62. And I think that's the nature of when we find our real why. And in my case, it was when I was playing basketball in a little gym in Pocatello, Idaho. I'm dribbling the ball down the middle of the court. The shoes are squeaking. I make a quick fake, throw a pass to somebody, catches it, scores a layup, and we win the game. In that moment of my life, I found my why. It's giving assist and the thrill and the feel of giving that assist that everybody else grows from it. And so I think there's a real need for us to think about what we actually do, because now there's no question why I coach, what I do, what my purpose in life is to give assist. This is what we're doing right now. I hope I can give an assist to somebody that's going to go somewhere with it and, score a slam dunk, home run, whatever it is, they got it fed, and they felt it and they felt that energy, because that's, you only got so much time in this life. We got to give it all, man.
So you're still playing the one guard here. You're still you're like the one guard for business. You're playing a point guard.
I love it. I love it. That could be the title of my next book. The one guard for business.
The point guard for business. There you go, man. Yeah. See, stuff gets real on here. Like I said, this is how we work, brother. You know what I'm saying? The point guard for that you ought to, for your coaching, like say, hey, I'm the point guard for business. You know what I'm saying? For your business coaching thing, hey, you know.
One of the things I described in the book, Chris, was my bike ride from I mentioned it earlier.
That's crazy.
Jasper to Thousand Oaks, and what a whole bunch of these.
How many miles was that?
2,300 miles I did in 23 days. So I did a 100-mile day every day. But I've been riding for a long time. Again, deliberate practice went into a lot of that. I'd done several tours before and so on, but a solo tour that long, never. That was a big deal. Wow. But I got to share with you one of the stories. I'm riding down through the, I came all through the Rockies, so down through Banff and a place called Kananaskis in Alberta and into Waterton and Glacier Park and, all the way through Montana and so on. And eventually I did take the Amtrak from Boise, Idaho to Portland, Oregon, which actually took me further north. But the headwinds in that Columbia Gorge, I'd still be riding there today, man. They're really, really strong. Great place for windsurfing. Not so good for cycling.
Wow.
So, when I got to Portland, I'm riding down, get down to the coast, and I don't know, just barely into the redwoods. I'm camping out one night, and every night you're camping out. I mean, I camped out, but once you hit the coast, it was like $2 a night biking hike. Back in 80 whatever. When I did this. No, I guess it would have been 92, 91 or so when I was doing this. A guy comes into the campsite and he's a big, strong German guy, on a real nice bike and stuff. And he's got ski poles sticking out of the top of his backpack. And he's got a backpack, which is unusual. Usually you have all panniers on the side of your bike. I mean, you know how touring bikes are set up. So anyway, I get talking to the guy around camp, and I got to say, hey, his name is Axel. I said, Axel, what's up with the ski poles, man? And he says, well, I was up in Alaska doing this, and he's going from Alaska to San Diego. I'm in Alaska doing this and that, and I had to use the poles for some of the hiking I was doing. So I just decided to bring them along. I didn't want to, mail them back. And I'm thinking, the reality, when you're riding distances like that, every ounce matters, man. You're paying.
Right.
This guy's built like, very strong. So anyway, leave him the next morning. I go, typical day, you throw some bars down, get down the road, have my breakfast, carry on. 2 days later, same routine, go out. I'm now at a breakfast spot somewhere around Modesto. It's kind of a classy spot where there's a lot of day cyclists in there. And of course, I'm pulling in after I've done, 1,400 miles at this time, 1,500 miles.
Wow.
People are looking at me, and I'm kind of an anomaly. And I must say, you kind of like the attention a little, I'm sitting there having breakfast and saying I did this, did that, can't help myself.
I felt like riding, so I rode. All right there, Forrest Gump.
Just how it goes, just riding. So I looked up in the window, and here goes the ski poles by. So I'm eating breakfast. So I jump out of my chair. I run out into the road, and I'm yelling, hey, Axel, hey, Axel. And Axel stops, and he's coming back, and when he gets close to me, I look back at the cafe, and everybody's face is right up against the window because they think I'm saying, hey, asshole.
Oh. Oh, man.
There you go.
That's cool.
You can miscommunicate sometimes, and people can get the wrong idea.
So what would you say, for people that are out there, about your peak experiences book, like what, like give them the hook on, getting into this book and getting in and reading it. And
it's written on my bookmark that comes with the book. A transformative journey to unlock your full potential. That's really the nature of the book. As you read through the book and you think, hey, yeah, this is this guy's journey, or this is his experience. Here's what my experience has been like, and here's how I can take that to another level and reach, hopefully, find yourself, in a much higher potential of what you can do and what happens in your life. So that's the goal of the book. That's the purpose for kind of pushing people to read it.
That's awesome, man. So tell everybody, like, how is it on Amazon? Like, where is it being distributed?
Yeah, you can pick it up on Amazon.com. Amazon, of course, it's there as Coach S, or under Coach S Peak Experiences. You'll find it right away. It's well pronounced. It's also Audible, so it's on Audible, and it's also Kindle, so it's in all of those formats. It's also available on something called The Great Discovery, both in Audible and in print from there. And that's basically where you can get it today.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. And then tell people more, like I said, how they get a hold of you and your coaching business and things like that.
Sure. Well, look up Coach Hess anywhere on the LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Google, and you'll find my brand is pretty solid. I'm out there.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, obviously people can email me directly. That's right in. If you look up the book cover on Amazon, it's right there for you to get to me. And I always am open to giving half-hour sessions to people, have a talk about the book, talk about their business, talk about whatever, get to know people. I'm big on that. Again, I'm about giving assists. So if you get on a call with me, you better have your hands open and ready to score some baskets.
That's cool, man. I love that, dude. So is there anything, we haven't talked about, man? Is there anything that you want to cover to make sure that we get everything?
Well, Chris, I appreciate you taking the lead on putting together a program like this and being a leader in the community with that type of thing and giving an opportunity for me. I'm totally grateful for you giving me a chance to talk about some of my stuff that I'm doing. And, I'm on a mission, and people like you, I have to tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing. I want to say thank you for that.
Well, like I said, sometimes, hey, the point guard's got to score too. You know what I mean?
So every once in a while, you get open, you got to go ahead and take it in and maybe even dunk it.
Hey, like I said, I'm a Knicks fan. I got a scoring point guard right now, so I'm good.
My last dunk was when I was 50 years old. That was 18 years ago. Last time I actually touched the basketball. I made that as my goal. My new goal is to shoot my age in golf. So I got that in front of me, but I'm going to have to get a hip replacement to get that done. I find out.
Hey, man, I ain't mad at you either way. I'm a fullback by nature. I'm far from a basketball player to begin with. I just like basketball. I'm just a Knicks fan, but I'm more of a fullback. So like I said, I'll block for you anytime.
There you go.
And as far as shooting my age, you can forget about that. I'm like, man, forget. Yeah, I'm working on that too, though. So like I said,
good stuff.
All right, man. Thanks, Coach. I really, like I said, I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you, giving, all this great information, to the subscribers and listeners and stuff like that. Like I said, just, this is, like I said, different when I was talking to you, and again, I'm going to another shout out to Clay at H7 because H7, I'm getting a lot of these guests from H7. H7 is a great networking group to be a part of. I'm telling you right now.
It really is.
Yeah. But, when I heard these different angles that you take, like I said, I was like, yeah, I got to get you on the show because, like I said, it's really great stuff. I really appreciate it a lot. And like I said, good luck with the book, man. Like I said, we'll have you on again for sure.
All right. Well, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Coach. You have a great one, man. Talk to you soon. Here in closing up the show, and here's the deal. Just want to give all honor, glory, and praise to my Lord Jesus Christ, who, saved my soul and gives me the ability to do this show. Without him, I couldn't do anything. Also want to give thanks to my family. My wife, my kids support me doing this and, backing me up. I couldn't do any of this without them also. Got to thank the sponsors, of course. Everybody that, supports the show. And, of course, the fans, the people that subscribe to the show. I wouldn't do any of this without you because it wouldn't be a show. So just want to say thank you all very much. Continue to, educate and elevate. Get out there, pursue your passions, pursue your dreams.